Actually, we don't have that many specialists in polyamorous relationships on our team. You realize that for him, maybe it doesn't have to be a woman to have broad jurisdiction. They actually didn't do it, they actually noticed it. There's another interesting experience, an interesting case that I had in my practice. We were working with an app, and he was able to sell it somehow to interested parties for polyamorous relationships. And its promotion was targeted at the United States of America. Specifically in those states like California, Florida, where it's warm and, so to speak, polyamorous relationships aren't something unusual, as they might be in other states. And as it just so happened, the particular individual who was the primary owner of this entire business changed. And, so to speak, this business ended up in the portfolio of another investor who basically didn't know what to do with it. He pulled up the data from when we used to work together and reached out to us with the goal of reviving this project. And then he could somehow sell it to interested parties. It all began when he reached out and specifically asked us to assist him in the process of defining the target audience from scratch. He wanted us to completely rethink the whole strategy because back when we first started working on this project, we hadn't actually taken the time to define those demographics ourselves. The previous owner was the one who had originally established that framework, but unfortunately, there were absolutely no written records or data logs left behind for us to reference, which made the entire situation much more complicated than we had initially anticipated. So we had to think about it ourselves. And the team that was running this project, the marketing was at a technical level, so we needed to redefine the target audience. And realizing that the situation was almost hopeless because basically we didn't have many specialists in polyamorous relationships on the team, maybe there weren't any at all. But still, they didn't come to me as a specialist in polyamorous relationships, but rather the opposite. Moreover, the team said, "We understand that most likely you won't be able to help us because you don't really know this area, but still. The target audience is for a relationship app for polyamorous relationships." I thought about it and I remembered one of the public lectures I saw on YouTube. It was about the pyramid of sexual dissatisfaction. The point was that it was structured in levels. The level of sexual dissatisfaction was divided. For example, if we take a man, at first he is dissatisfied with his wife or his partner. He starts looking for another partner. Then he becomes dissatisfied with the other partner. He realizes that maybe the issue isn't the partner, but the number of partners. He involves a greater number of partners. Then he realizes that maybe for him it doesn't even have to be a woman, for example. Maybe it doesn't even have to be a human being. In short, without delving into the topic of sexual perversions, after all, we're talking about marketing, we've determined that the target audience for this app, it extends right up to the point where same-sex relationships begin. Because that's already a different topic, and there are other services for that. We don't have experience with it, and we don't deal with it. So we simply define the target audience up to that point. That is, any polyamorous relationships, heterosexual ones, all of them. And in this way we managed to revive the project, filter out the unnecessary audience, and basically focus clearly on everything related to the project. And the project was successfully updated and now works for those who are actually interested in polyamorous relationships. What else can I add? It's very important for a marketer to have a broad jurisdiction, to have as broad a worldview as possible, even if it doesn't always align with their own. For example, polyamorous relationships don't really align with my own worldview. But it's extremely important to be aware of the various manifestations of human life, because this allows you to identify the right target audience and, in general, provides unexpected information and unexpected experiences. It's not obvious what you might need it for. It might come in handy somewhere, like a clue that will later help you unravel the case and solve the client's problem. Here I would refer to one of those undeniable authorities for me, again to Steve Jobs, who said that creative people are often asked, how did you do it? You're creative people, how do you do it? Sometimes they feel awkward because they didn't really do it, they actually noticed it. And what they notice happens because they spend a bit more time on it or think about it more. They can synthesize pieces of their experience and then create something new, simply because they have broad erudition. And broad erudition is extremely important for a marketer. If you need to apply broad erudition in the field of digital marketing, in marketing in general, at various levels, AVEB, digital marketing agency, welcome.